And item 17, discuss and if necessary, take action to approve changing the standard board meeting date and time as requested by Margaret. Take off with it.
Now, hold on, let me throw something out there, because there's been other discussion benefits to thinking about it.
Like Tuesday at noon.
Somebody suggested, and it wasn't me, that we don't have to have an evening meeting. We could meet at noon, or we could meet at we could have a 9 a.m. meeting. We have other options. We aren't tied to noon if the board wants to do something different. We don't have to just switch to a different evening. We have other options depending on what people want to do. I didn't think about that earlier. To me, personally.
What's your availability?
Noon on Tuesday.
Here,
I'll make it happen.
I can be available for a routine day. It just takes me out of clinic, right? And that causes distress for our clinic manager at times. Because if I'm not seeing patients, right, I mean, that it has an issue, but we can make it work, right? I mean, there's.
okay, here's the only issue I see. Are you retired?
Yes.
Retired, basically retired. Joe's retired. That's great if we got retired people. But basically you would be blocking out any future people like Brett or whatever who works, if they work at a regular job, if they're not their own business owner and can take off, then you're saying, you know, you're not going to be able to come to the meetings if you work a regular job. That's the only issue I see with that.
Well, perhaps if we had it at noon, that wouldn't quite be as much of a.
If they
Well, it
work
depends on where you
in
work.
Grandeur or something.
True.
You're
We
just.
can work on it again later if it doesn't work, or if we start having
Well, I
people
started
who
saying
want to
that's the only
come.
off is like, okay, we did this for a while, we got all these retired people up here running the
Which are
board.
great.
And then, you know, then we get somebody that is gonna quit, which all of us are gonna do one of these days, come on, you know. And then you're, you know,
Certainly by 2036.
Yep.
So
No,
I just want to throw that out there, that if you do that, then you're looking at, you know, either having to change it back or something if somebody was to come on board. And that, I don't know, that seems a little ridiculous to me, but that's just me.
You mean it seems ridiculous to you to change what we're already doing?
No, you, listen. To change it to the middle of the day to basically block out people that are younger and working from being, you know, an opportunity to be on the board, and then having to change that, say, well, you know, one of us retired.
Well, and if I recall, correct me if I'm wrong, because you were there was a huge issue when the hospital district was first formed about when were the meetings and were the meetings accessible to the public. And a new meeting is not really, now, so many people from the public have showed up to our meetings in the last 4 years, I can count them on one hand.
And on the other hand, the commissioners court meets
Absolutely.
at what, 9:30 or 9:30?
I understand,
And
I understand.
And
it
there's,
just does take a lot from some of us who do pull a lot during the day to be here till 9 and 10 o'clock at night either. But it would also make us committed as a board and as a hospital to make sure that we're effective of our time. If we're gonna do a lunchtime, we need to make sure that we're staying within a lunch realm. People can come, be accessible, in, out, like, make sure that we're accountable too. Make sure we don't have too many presentations one night. We're just gonna have to really think about that.
Yeah,
Because I don't.
Tonight we start
Well,
at 7.
but the
and
downside to
9:30.
that is then do we end up with more called meetings?
I
Do
don't
we end
think
up
so.
having to meet more often?
I would hope not. I think we just gotta be, we have.
Nah, I think you end up with more called
What,
meetings.
what about 5 o'clock?
And I mean, I can be flexible with time. I mean, you know, if we decide we want to do noon, I can work my schedule down to make it happen.
But we've had a 2.5-hour meeting tonight.
Yeah, this one was
this is
long because a lot of it's I'm gonna be gone the next one, so I tried to pile everything I could on this one to get it out of the way,
This is not the
so.
rule. This is the exception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're out by 8.
Are we paying y'all overtime?
No, we're on Saturdays.
I mean, you know, a 5 or 5:30 start time, I think, is also very reasonable.
Well,
You know.
one of my concerns was also you
Well,
employees.
Again,
Not
I
all of
understand
you
your
live in
point.
town, some of you have to
Yeah.
hang around and then
Well,
drive
that's
home
why
late at night.
I can't figure, I get off at 5 and I can't be here at 5.
Right.
Thank you for caring.
I mean, that's down the road, but
Just from a personal standpoint, moving it away from a Thursday would be nice. Because
Let's look at that, what
We
what
discussed
day of the
Tuesday
week?
last time.
Yes. How do y'all feel about a noon meeting?
So here's the
Absolutely.
thing, I'll be wherever you guys need me to be, and thank you for being very cognizant of my drive, but I chose that when I chose this job. So I want everybody to know that. I've sat on a hospital board with a huge corporation for many years. It was at 9 o'clock in the morning. The hospital I worked at, it was actually at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And they're both big corporate hospitals, but still, there's different options. The one thing that I will say, maybe the morning or the afternoon is a little much right now because it is so drastic. Maybe at 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. I know the concern, because I've talked about this with Michael months ago, was the public. I want everybody to really be cognizant and think about all the publicity and everything that Michael's put forth in the past few months. He's changing the perception of the hospital with the public. I like to say he's getting out in front of everything before we allow things to happen. So if we hear in the public that they can't make our meetings or whatnot, we're gonna be able to hear it now instead of hopefully the hubbub that happened in the past. So with all that being said, maybe a change might not be as scary as it first was when we first started talking about it.
I think though too, you're gonna be able to see some of our employees who would not come to a meeting at 7 o'clock at night.
Especially
We
the
could actually bring
winners.
them and recognize them on their lunch break
Yeah.
and actually do something a little bit better. But it also put y'all here when they're here. And then seeing y'all is huge, because a lot of them don't know who you are still.
And that's not applicable if we have it at 5?
I'm not saying that,
Yeah.
it's just,
Not
there are
as-
still a lot
Not
of families out there.
Probably not as
that
much because people are
Don't
gonna,
wanna go.
they're gonna go home to their family. They're getting dinner ready for their kids and
Sports.
Activities.
Well, can we
I
do
think
it?
so, and the time, I'm good either way, but if we could
I'm
move
good
from
either way.
Thursday to Tuesday, because I do have a cheerleader this year, so Thursdays are gonna be occupied.
I'm gonna say for future board members, also, if they are employed by somebody, it is an honor to be a part of a board, and I would only, I think employers would allow them some like leeway, or that's the type of people we would want on the board, I would think.
And as a support for that, the Lions Club, you look at that, and a lot of businesses and the people there.
Make an effort, or chamber meeting, or the city. They're there at 9, you wanna be heard, you're gonna show up.
Could we do a straw poll?
A whole first?
somebody needs to make a motion and we'll see, we're gonna have to
Okay,
flag
Tuesday at noon.
I
How many
second.
how many are in favor of that?
Okay, hold on. You gotta be a little more specific.
Tuesday at noon.
Oh,
Which
Which
last?
Tuesday?
Oh, the last Tuesday of the month. We don't have to change that part, do we?
Hold on. When our med staff
No, but
meetings-
one of the reasons for having it towards the end of the month is
I
financial.
think it's first.
Yeah, the reason we do it at the end.
I don't know if I have it.
They're-
Hang on one second, we gotta check on when the med staff meetings. are.
I'll get it for you.
That's
They're,
right.
they're the third, they're not the last, I know that.
Because they're right before, they're the same time as the records and the records
Third,
Yeah, I don't have it in my,
I got it on the board. I'm trying.
Okay, so if we have a 5th Tuesday of the month, are we gonna meet, would
so
we
it
meet
always,
always
Last.
the last,
as it stands right now, it's always the last Tuesday of the month,
or last Thursday?
or Thursday, I mean, that's.
Yeah.
Should be having one in July, right?
Max seconded, didn't you?
I think Mary, did you second?
I did.
Oh, Mary seconded, okay.
Did we make a motion?
You did, yes.
So
Yeah,
it's on
discussion.
the 2nd or 3rd Tuesday night. So like August, it falls on August 15th.
What do you
Med
say?
staff?
And there's
it's
5.
just important that we're after med staff so that the med staff business can come to that meeting,
Yeah.
right?
Okay,
And
last
finance.
Tuesday of the month, noon.
Yes.
Are we in agreement?
You made the
What,
motion.
Roger?
Have a
I make
second.
Discussion.
I can work with that. And if it seems like it's not working, then we'll change in 6 months.
Right.
I mean, that's,
Revisit it.
we have the power.
Yeah.
We will provide food for that, so.
Yeah. Even better.
The
Yeah.
only thing that it
Okay,
affects
third
is the only thing that it would affect would be your finance committee meetings. Because right now they're the Tuesday before,
We'll,
so we could move those. We have a
Yeah,
new
well-
finance director who will.
The Monday
do that. We could do the Monday.
we will wait on Mike to.
We'll wait on Mike for that.
Yeah.
I think that's good, because somebody will be
That's
fair.
That works.
Very good.
Well, I'm waiting to see, I mean, no comments?
No,
No comments? I guess we're ready for the vote then. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of setting the regular meetings for the board to the last Tuesday of each month at noon, signify by the usual sign. Yes, we're there.
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman,
Sir?
I have a new appreciation for the term 9 months.